the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
And one time.
Now, if you're not a new viewer of this channel, you would know that I usually have a certain team behind me as the background, but not this time. You want to know why? Why I don't have it, Aaron? Well, you know, you're a Packers fan. You know why? Because the Dallas Cowboys is the most embarrassing team I've ever had the displeasure of watching in my entire life. What they did Sunday against the Green Bay Packers was unprecedented. It was embarrassing. It was, oh my, I can't even have it. It's not even enough freaking adjectives to describe what the heck just transpired this past weekend. I am livid. Okay, now I'm not livid anymore, but I was livid the last 48 hours or so after the game. That was embarrassing. That is probably the worst loss in franchise history, hands down. You had 9 All-Pros, 12 wins as the 2 seed, and everything was going right for you to get in this position. Just to go out there and then you lay an egg, and then to make it worse, Aaron Jones, before the game was mic'd up, said we're gonna punch a front runner in the mouth. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And then no firings has happened, no coaching staff changes, anything happened. We just sitting there like ducks while everybody Jim Harbaugh's getting interviewed. Ben Johnson got interviews coming up. We got everybody that we thought was better that we were better than advancing in the playoffs, and then here we are at home with the Eagles. Like, bro, this is ridiculous. I'm so glad that I was out the house and didn't have to watch 4 quarters of that foolishness. I was watching it on my phone, and I said, "Yeah, I turned it off before the half. I'm not joking. I turned it off. I said they're not about to ruin my outing. That was ridiculous, man. I can't believe they did that. Like that was. I want Dan Quinn fired. I want Mike McCarthy fired. I want the offensive coordinator, even though Mike McCarthy was pretty much the coordinator. I want him fired too for endorsing the foolishness. But the bad thing, Cowboys fans, we got blog team reporters and local media carrying water for the Jones family, saying, "Oh, maybe we should keep Mike McCarthy." No, no, no. I tell you what, if I swear to you on everything I know and love, if Mike McCarthy is the head coach of this football team, I am no longer invested in the Cowboys until real change is made. I'm not going through another year of this. I'm not about to be front and center beating on the table saying, yeah, we don't know. I will cover this team. I will cover that team like I cover all the other teams in the league. I'm not taking this abuse anymore. I'm not doing it. And as a fan, you shouldn't either. Because this is what they shown us these for the last 30 so years. Almost 30 years, excuse me. That's what they show. They don't care. They don't care to win football. The culture is messed up in that place. We got CD doing first down celebrations down 20. Michael Parsons, where was you at? You podcasting you doing what we do. You podcasted every week, saying, and then you making tweets the game before, talk about the bro. Oh, if we get beat like that, you will never see effort like that. You had one pressure, my boy. Dak Prescott, second team All Pro. Where was you at? Throwing picks, that's where you was. Good grief, man. What a terrible performance. Top to bottom, everyone stunk out there. It was Dan Quinn, dog. Please, I cannot stress how badly I want Dan Quinn off this team. Seattle, please, I'm on my hands. Please hire Dan Quinn for the love of God, because this is absolutely outrageous. We played the most man in the league coming into the playoffs just to play zone. What what is going on here? Mike McCarthy, dog. You know how many passes Dak Prescott threw in the first quarter? 4. The same number on his jersey. He threw the same amount of passes in the first quarter that he does on his jersey. What is Mike McCarthy thinking? That was right, man. That was we got to get some. We got to get a dude in here, a coach that's veteran experience and will establish a culture. Because what we got right now is a bunch of Hollywood bull crap. We're gonna beat up on the teams we supposed to beat and then pound our chest like, yeah, we them boys. No, y'all not them boys. Absolutely disgrace of a freaking org, man. I can't. Man.
You got it. Is that it? That's all you want to say?
That's it, man.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll
man.
I'll cover the draft. If I'm telling you, if Mike McCarthy is still on this team, dog, I will cover the draft just because it's the draft. Draft picks can happen years down the line after change of positive. But I will not be invested in the season coming up if Mike McCarthy's still the head coach. I promise you that. And I think they're going. And I think a lot of the fan base feels the same way. We got reporters making reports trying to cape for these dudes. I'm like, come on, man, that's nasty. Jerry Jones, you're making a huge mistake if you keep this coaching staff together. I promise you. Them seats is gonna be very empty. You're gonna see other teams' jerseys in the stands.
What about your boy Al Harris, man? You don't want him to get promoted?
I wouldn't mind him getting promoted.
But
if he's carrying Dan Quinn philosophy on defense, I don't want him coaching either. Bring me Bill Belichick. Just don't let him pick an offensive coordinator, please. I can't do Josh McDaniels in Dallas.
Oh, he's gonna be in Dallas.
Stop it.
He's gonna be in Dallas, bro. He is. That's his guy. All right, man. Well, wow, that was. Oh, I'm glad you were able to get that out the way because, man, we have a lot to discuss when it comes to this game. So, as you guys already know, the Packers versus the Cowboys game. What a shocker. I mean, there's a bunch of people that weren't surprised, but me personally, I was completely surprised. I had the Packers losing this game. I thought the Cowboys were going to win by 7, but my God, by double digits. At one point, it was 40-16. At one point, the Packers were, matter of fact, the Packers scored 48 points on the road in Dallas, where you guys are 16-0 at home. Think about that for a second. 16-0 at home. They were unbeatable. And when the playoffs rolled around, y'all were beatable. It was a disgrace. It was one of the worst beatdowns I've ever seen, one of the worst collapse I've ever seen from a team. The Cowboys laid an egg. They gagged. They choked. It was egregious. And everything that Brian said was absolutely correct. I have to say, Jordan Love, my God. I didn't think it would be this soon, but man, he's the real deal. I have to say, I have to give this man an apology for all of the criticism that I have bestowed on him. All the Jordan Baker jokes from if you ever watched if you ever watched All American, you know what I'm saying? All the Jordan Baker jokes because he looks like Jordan Baker and his first name is Jordan. Like just how it's just funny. It's just funny. But I have to apologize because I was wrong about him. At the beginning of the season, I had a lot of hopes, had a lot of optimism, but then I jumped off the ship the minute he had a 3-game slide. And I have to admit when I'm wrong. And he's been absolutely tremendous. He's looked like a top 5 QB since December. Like he's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And I'm not gonna lie, looking at that game, are we sure Dak is better than Jordan Love? I mean, the way that they looked, oh my God. I'm like, damn. Hey, Brock Purdy fans, that's a game changer. That's a playmaker. Jordan Love, that's what a game changer looks like. Not all this, oh, he got 30-something touchdowns. Oh, he threw 4 touchdowns in this game. Yak, wide open receivers. Look at Jordan Love off his back foot most of the time. Pressure coming his way, and he's throwing off his back foot accurate. to his tight end and his receivers. Now, I will say it was a lot of wide open passes. The scheme, the way that we schemed them open was pretty good. But damn it, there was some damn throws that only a handful of quarterbacks can make. And he made them. His arm talent is tremendous. I remember coming out of the draft, they compared him to Aaron Rodgers, to Patrick Mahomes because of his arm talent ability. Even though he could be turnover prone, he could be a little sporadic at times. But at the end of the day, all of the comparisons, they came true. Like, I'm looking at some of these throws he's making. I'm looking at his footwork, his fundamentals. It's very Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre-esque without the distractions, without all of the off the field stuff. I'm like, yo, we got a black QB that plays like Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Oh my God. And his girlfriend black too. Like, oh man, this is such a amazing. This is such. Oh my God, this is as a Packer fan, you have to be excited. You have to look for the future. The fact that we have the youngest team in the NFL, the youngest team in the NFL, and we won a playoff game on the road in that fashion. What? We overachieved just getting there. The fact that we won a playoff game, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit, Packers fans. The very fact that we were able to accomplish this with not one receiver hitting 1,000 yards. For the past, I think, 8 weeks, we've had a different receiver leading in receiving yards for that game. Think about that. All of our receivers, all our tight ends are rookies and second years. Meaning, guess what? You're not going to have to pay them a whole bunch of money. So, guess what the Packers are going to do? They're going to give Jordan Love that contract. They're going to give Jordan Love I don't know how much money. Maybe Kyler Murray money, who knows? But they're going to give him a bunch of money, and guess what? Your receivers, they're not going to cost a whole bunch. Why? Because they're young. They're in their first or second year. This is an amazing, this is outstanding. I've never seen a quarterback develop the way that Jordan Love in 1 year. In 1 year, like CJ Stroud, he was pretty much consistent the entire year, right? Like he didn't really have that rookie wall or anything. The only reason when you look at like, oh, well, what about that little stretch that he had towards like 2/3 of the season? Well, he was missing like a bunch of his players. I believe he was missing maybe Nico. I don't know if Tank Dell was playing as well. So that's the reason why he didn't look as well as he did. But when he had his pieces, dude was lights out. Like CJ was pretty much consistent the entire season. Jordan Love, on the other hand, he went from good to ass to great. I'm like, I've never seen that from a first-year starter in 1 year just develop the way that he did. This team, look at the team. Like, oh my God, like they came into the season, they were like, okay, they all right. I mean, they look okay. And then all of a sudden they look like a lottery team. They look like a team that's in the Drake May, Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And then all of a sudden they just boom, come out of nowhere. Dontavian Wicks, Melton, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Lucas Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, like all these dudes, like these are rookies. These are second-year guys. They're not supposed to do this. Christian Watson was out for the majority of the season, and we find a way to make the playoffs. We find a way. This offensive line was trash at one point. Like, it was one of the worst blocking I've ever seen from an offensive line. Brian, against the Cowboys, the Packers had their best when it comes to the protection. I've never seen the Packers block better than they did against the Cowboys. That was the best blocking they've had all year. Running game, passing game. I've never seen it better than what I saw this past Sunday. That's how, if I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm angry. I am furious because we couldn't do anything. I'm looking at Oza Odigizua. Where were you at, man? 1 QB pressure? Michael Parsons, where were you at, man? 1 QB pressure? You guys had no sacks. No sacks? That is crazy. No turnovers. That is crazy. the defense was non-existent. Jordan Love had his way. And Jordan Love, he looked like a top 5 QB. He looked like one of the best QBs in the NFL. The way that this game turned out, if you never watched a game of football, if that was your first game of watching football, you couldn't tell that Dak Prescott was an all-pro. You would have thought Jordan Love was the all-pro. You couldn't tell that Dak Prescott was top 2 in MVP odds. You would think Jordan Love was in the MVP discussion. That's how bad it was. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Just talk about just when it comes to schematically, because I'll say this, another stat, and I'll let you go. 48 out of the 54 snaps for the Cowboys, 6 DBs were on the field. Now, for everybody that's watching at home, wherever you are, I just want to keep this in mind. The Packers running game, Aaron Jones had 21 carries on 116 yards or something, like 3 touchdowns, and was averaging 5.5 yards a carry. Now, if you don't know, that's that's amazing. Like, that's outstanding stat for a running back. And the fact they had 6 DBs on the field for 48 out of the 54 snaps, that's egregious. That's egregious. Just speak on the defense, man, because you've been critical of them for the second half of the season.
I have, and for good reason, as you can see, because we couldn't stop a nosebleed. The first punt that y'all had, it was either the fourth quarter or going into the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. That is unacceptable. I don't know why Dan Quinn was allowed to even. They should have threw him out the AT&T Stadium like Jeffrey of Jeff on Fresh Prince. They should just threw him out like that. They should have threw him out like Uncle Phil, son. Like what is going on, man? I was watching the game and I'm seeing the line. I'm like, bro, they have 7 blockers. Why do we have 2 down linemen? Then he's playing zone. I was like, what's with all this zone? What is going on? We play man over here. They ain't that fast. What is going on? We was manning up Tyreek Hill. Why can't we man up these dudes? And then I was like, oh, there go Aaron Jones again, killing the Cowboys like he always do. And it was just, I'm telling you, it's a whole. I feel like they went into this game thinking they could beat the Packers with a mediocre game plan. I felt like they thought they were so much better than the Packers talent-wise that they didn't have to implement an elite game plan.
That's what it was.
I truly think, because there's no other explanation. Came out flat. CDs dropping passes. Routes is people not playing. Wide receivers not playing physical throughout the route, and then the route combinations were terrible. Mm-hmm. Why is Dak Prescott only throwing 4 passes in a quarter? I don't know. I don't know why we just decided, hey, we're just going to run the ball. We haven't been able to run the ball all year, but let's run the ball now. Like, what? I just don't understand. Nothing was going over in the middle of the field. They were sitting back in coverage, rushing 4, and we couldn't do nothing with it. Once again, how can you not be too high in this league? I don't even understand. It was just a complete meltdown, top to bottom. And the fact that no changes have been made thus far. I heard some things about they don't want the NFL, the whole league announcing any changes before the divisional round. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I don't see why reporters is carrying water talking about, oh, Mike, I don't know what's that all about.
You can fire head coaches, though. You can fire coaches now. It's just about hiring them.
Oh, well, I don't know. Then I think they said Jerry's going to meet with Mike either Thursday or Friday. If there's no firings happen, I've lost hope in all of this. I've lost all hope in this franchise. And yeah, it's going to be the same crap, different toilet. And I know this is going to sound like I'm putting on a cape, but I know Dak Prescott, he didn't play well. He had a super mid game. If he wasn't stat padding down 1 billion points, then he would look even worse on the stat sheet. But here's the thing. This was a good point brought up by a great Cowboys YouTuber named by the name of Vosh Lombardi. He said, when you look at all the other teams around the league, you look at the 49ers, you look at the Bills, you look at the Ravens, you look at the Chiefs, you look at well, not much so, most of the Chiefs, maybe the Chiefs a little bit. But you look at the other teams around the league that have these top tier quarterbacks or so, right? You
Mm-hmm.
look at the 49ers. If Brock Purdy has some wonky drives where he's not looking too good, you know what they could say? We're just going to run the ball with Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to give the ball to Debo in open field and watch him work.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had games where he threw 0 touchdowns and they won by double digits. If
Mm-hmm.
Lamar has a shaky game, they go, we could rely on the defense. The defense can get us a few stops so we can figure everything out. And then we
Mm-hmm.
can just run the ball with Gus Edwards, um, and all the other guys they got, Justice Hill and all.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with the Bills. If Josh Allen stinks it up a little bit, the defense is playing better. They could rely on the defense a little bit. Then they can, James Cook, I'm gonna need you to carry some of the load. But if Dak Prescott stinks, the entire team stinks. Like it is ridiculous because the defense ain't giving you no help, and we can't run the football. So if Dak's not out there hitting every throw or hitting majority of the throws, we're finished. We can't afford the luxury of coming out and not scoring on the first drive. The Packers won the coin toss and said, we want the ball. On the road. They act like they was the one who with the 2 seed.
They
Like
said
this
your
is stuff
watch
I
is
be
fake.
talking about,
They
man.
said your watch is fake.
It,
We can
it,
show
it,
you.
it is. It is. It's not even cubic zirconium at this point. It might as well be aluminum foil.
Oh my God.
12
Man.
wins for what? For this? Yeah, right, man. What a joke.
I was watching film, right? So here's the thing. So I think one of the things when it comes to Dan Quinn and how egregious it was the way he was able to manage the way he managed Micah during that game because there was some film I saw
Why
he
was
was in
Micah dropping
coverage.
back in coverage
I
on
was
third
about
down?
to say that. I was like, why is Micah dropping back in coverage? Because when I watched him rush, I'm like, Micah should be rushing for majority of this game. Like, why is he dropping back in coverage? Because like there was times where I'm like, oh, he beat the lineman, and I'm like, okay, why not continue to do that? But he was like, nah, we're not. And then there was other times where like I would say like Aaron Jones, for example, like he would help out when it comes to the blocking and everything, and he did, man, he was phenomenal. Like I've never seen Aaron Jones block a better game than that. So that you could also say, well, maybe Micah he wasn't able to rush sometimes because Aaron Jones did a phenomenal job in blocking. But at the end of the day, still no excuse for Dan Quinn because there was moments where I saw on the film where okay, if Micah was rushing more, he probably would have had more opportunities to get to the quarterback, but he didn't because Dan Quinn in this whatever scheme he was thinking of. And another thing, Richard Sherman brought up a great point. I know you hate Richard Sherman, but he brought this point because he gave great insight in sort of the scheme with the Legion and Boom and with Dan Quinn. Because as everybody knows, if you're a football head, you know Dan Quinn, he was the DC for the Legion of Boom. And so with the Legion of Boom, he said, we didn't try to disguise nothing. We were just like, listen, we just got better dudes than you, and you're not gonna be able to stop it. And so when I look at this game, it was the same thing. It was like, yo, we think we just have better dudes than you, and you're not gonna be able to stop it. And I felt like Dan Quinn was doing the same exact thing, and it bit them in the foot. They thought, oh yeah, oh this is a young team. Oh they sweet. Oh Jordan Love, this is the first time starting in the playoffs. But in reality, you have to remember who is the head coach. It's Matt LaFleur. From what tree? From the Shanahan tree. And what has killed the Cowboys over the years? The Shanahans. Why? Because they do a lot of motion, and for whatever reason, the Cowboys cannot cover that motion. And the Dolphins game, y'all lost that motion, even though it was relatively close. At the same time, they were able to move down the field when it matters most, and they were able to win that game. And so that's another thing with the Cowboys, man. And they underestimated their opponent, and they got killed. They got killed for it. And that comes down to coaching. Mike McCarthy. The minute he got hired, I knew this dude was a fraud. Aaron Rodgers called him a fraud. Everybody in Green Bay knew he was a fraud. I'm like, why is Jerry Jones hiring this fraud? And it's because of one reason. It's because he can control him. It's because he can get all the credit when everything is great. And see, that's the problem. When you mention Bill Belichick, the reason why Bill Belichick is not going to go to the Cowboys, although it would be a great hire for the Cowboys, is because Bill Belichick, he don't want all those distractions. He wants some type of control. Maybe not GM control, but he wants some type of control. He wants to have the ability to be involved, not just from head coaching wise, but from other sort of things as well. Like he don't want the owner to come down here and say, "Oh, I want you to do this and that. I want you to start this and that." Like he don't want to have that problems or anything like that. And that's one of the problems with Jerry Jones. I put a poll on the channel. I was like, who's to blame for this loss? Now, Jerry Jones didn't win it, but he got some votes now. He got some votes. Let me look at this poll. It was who's to blame for the Cowboys loss, and Dak Prescott got the most votes.
Of course, because people are stupid.
Number 2 was the coaching. Number 3 was Jerry Jones. It wasn't the defense, which is kind of odd. But number 3 was Jerry Jones at 18%. And I have to say, and this is like off of 403 votes. This is at 403 votes. But yeah, man, he's part of the blame for all this because he's the one that hired the coach. He's the one that hired a coach. At the end of the day, he could have went out and got somebody else, but he just decided, yo, I want somebody that I can control. And this is why y'all can never get over the hump because there's not that coach that can number one get the respect of the players, and number 2 that can make sure that the players are ready for the game. Like, how are you guys not ready for the game? This every year. This is what happens every year. You guys are not ready for the game in the playoffs, in the biggest of games, not the regular season, the playoffs. So, yeah, man, Mike McCarthy has to go. But all I have to say is run it back. Run it back. Let's run it back, baby. Come on now. Let's run it back. Why not let it fly? I mean, chemistry is everything. Continuity is everything. Let's run it back, Cowboys. Let's do it again for one more year.
I will be rooting for them to lose every single game. No troll.
Y'all, this is the same dude that said if the Cowboys lose this game to this sorry defense, he wouldn't watch. I think he said he wouldn't watch football anymore for the rest of the season. But guess what? He's gonna watch football. He's going to watch. And you know another thing, I predicted this. He like, oh, my Ravens. I knew you were gonna switch up. I knew it. He switched teams, y'all. He switched teams. I knew he was gonna do this.
No. I didn't switch teams. I just started. So I've been a Lamar Jackson fan. So I'm just rooting. I'm just supporting I said Mark Jackson, Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens.
Okay, well,
I don't have nothing against them. It's
anywho,
better than any of the other possible options winning the Super Bowl. You kidding me?
what about the 49ers? What about Brock Purdy, man? You want to? Look at your
Honestly,
face, man.
and now I'm thinking about it. If it's between the Lions, 49ers, or the Packers, I'd honestly rather the 49ers win.
Did you say, whoa, say that again?
If it's between the Lions, Packers, or Niners out the NFC, I'd rather have the Niners.
You out of your damn mind. You rather have the Niners over the Lions?
Yes.
Why?
The Lions doing too much of this. They get one winning season with one playoff. Have you seen Twitter? Lions Twitter?
Have you seen what Kyle Shanahan said? He said they were getting ready for the Packers after the second, matter of fact, in the middle of the second quarter.
We play like trash. I mean, I ain't mad at him for that.
That is disrespectful.
Good. And watch Jerry Jones run it back and watch he lose 30% of the fan base.
So you man, so what? Like, do you not understand what will happen if the Niners win the Super Bowl?
I don't care. They're not going to win it, but no team that has lost to Kirk Cousins have won the Super Bowl in that same year.
Oh my God. Here we go with this. all
Kirk
these.
Cousins, I need the curse to continue.
You know what's funny though? Y'all, Cowboys fandom thought that, oh, Jimmy Johnson, he's finally going to the Ring of Honor. The curse has been lifted. Well, you know what? Y'all forgot this. It wasn't the Jimmy Johnson curse that was holding you back. It's the Jerry Jones curse. He got cursed. He cursed the franchise by what did you say? What did you say in the group chat? What did you say? You said it wasn't the almighty, it wasn't the man above he was talking to ask for a third ring.
Oh,
What was it?
it was Lucifer. That's who it was.
He was like, yeah. He's like, I was talking to the man below. I wasn't talking to the man above. I'm like, he's like, he's a sinner. He was talking to the man below, talking about let me get that third ring and then I won't ask ever again. You know? You know what I mean? So yeah, man. Until Jerry Jones is out of there, until the Joneses are out of there, I don't know if the Cowboys will ever run a ring, man. I feel like y'all are cursed until that man is out of there.
It could be true.
So all that Jimmy Johnson nonsense that was for the birds. I'll say this because you know what it reminds me of. Remember Dan Snyder for the Commanders. Remember how like he was pretty much holding the entire organization hostage. And the minute he became the owner, the team started to play like trash. Well, the same could be applied for Jerry Jones for like a different reason. Specifically, what we just mentioned, but also the fact that ever since Jimmy Johnson has left, this team has pretty much fallen flat. You guys got that one Super Bowl, but that's because of the roster, which is so damn great. Like one of the greatest rosters we ever seen. But for the most part, ever since Jimmy Johnson, it's been total collapse. Well, any final words for your Cowboys before we move on?
Fire everyone.
Who?
And it's time to dig into NFL draft prospects.
What head coach do you want again?
I want either Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, or Bobby Slowick.
Bobby Slowick. Bobby Slowick. That's interesting.
He's young, but I don't know. I think we need a coach that's going to establish a culture.
Don't you? I feel like
Mike McCarthy ain't establishing no culture.
I feel like you need a head coach that's experienced, that can that can get the respect from the players. I feel like the only two coaches that comes to mind is Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel. Because you have a veteran.
Just don't let Mike Vrabel hire any coordinator.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing. You do realize he did have Matt LaFleur, but their offense still stunk. So it is what it is.
That's because he likes running the ball.
Oh yeah, your boy Mozzie Smith. Where was he?
Listen. I know how DTs work in the league. It take a few years to really judge them because Quentin Williams, as good as he is now, he wasn't as this good when his rookie year. So like only very few teams have DTs the first year that make huge impact, like a Jeffrey Simmons or a Dexter Lawrence or a Jalen Carter for half the year. But yeah, I'm not too worried about. Yeah, he was a non-factor pretty much, which is unfortunate for a first round pick. But I give him some time. For some reason, they made him drop 30 pounds because I think Dan Quinn, in his geniusness, wanted to make him a 3 tech when he was a 1 tech at Michigan. I don't. That's another reason to get him fired.
Yeah,
Drafting that bull, man. That draft class is not good this past year.
Deron Bland came out last year, right?
Yeah, that was last year.
Last year, yeah. Yeah, y'all, man, that's right. Oof.
And let's dead this narrative here. There's this thing going around Twitter saying Deron Bland gave up 100. He did not give up 100 yards. I don't know where that came from. He gave up 30 yards. 30. You see how people just lie? You see how people just lie, just get an agenda off?
I think they're getting confused with Stephon Gilmore because that's the corner that was getting cooked all game. Romeo
Jay
Dobbs,
Lou.
Dontavian Wicks. Oh my God, they were giving him the business. It was looking ugly out there. Now people want to call him wash. Man, I knew Stephon Gilmore wasn't the same after that Seahawks game. Remember the Seahawks game? DK.
That was DeRon Bland getting cooked.
Oh, it was, but like I could have sworn Stephon Gilmore was getting light up too. But anywho, regardless, I remember like I watched some of these games. I'm like, Stephon Gilmore, he's not really locking down as good as I thought he was, and then this game came around. I was just like, well, I'm not surprised. I saw the signs there. But anywho, yeah, he's gonna be a free agent. It's gonna be some guys up for extension. Micah, Dak, CD's gonna want an extension. So, man, it's gonna be very difficult for them Cowboys, bro. At least Trayvon Diggs is coming back. That's the good news.
Woohoo.
All right, well, I think that'll do it for the Cowboys versus Packers game. We're gonna go to the next game.
Look, cold world, still a cold world. And a couple y'all is cool, but we a little more thorough. Whole time, a little more girls. You know I spit that sick shit and it's still no cure. Hold up, loud pack.